Not sure how well my microphone's picking me up, though. Not sure how well my microphone's picking me up, though.
There is no the flying saucers. I have seen UFOs, but in all of those news stories, I've detected one missing fact, one incredible, glaring omission. Not one world public agency or scientific group has even offered a partial solution to this most amazing mystery of all time. No public authority has told us who are the overlords of the UFO, and why are they here, right now, at this time. There is no Air Force defending any portion of this planet that can truthfully deny that the following documented incidents did take place, and that similar incidents are taking place almost every day somewhere in the world. In the southeastern United States, military aircraft have disappeared, and UFOs have been connected with those disappearances. Near Pascagoula, Mississippi, 2 shipyard workers were taken aboard a UFO and given physical examinations. In 1976, in Kentucky, 3 women were taken aboard a UFO and terrorized while the humanoid crewman of the UFO gave them physical examinations.
Cool.
In Wyoming, in 1975, an oil exploration foreman, while elk hunting, was picked up by a UFO along with the elk and was medically examined and returned to the elk hunting area by the UFO crewman. In Arizona, in 1975, while working in open country, Travis Walton was zapped away for 5 days and kept aboard a UFO. A few weeks previously, near Alamogordo, New Mexico, a member of the U.S. military was examined by the humanoid crewman of a UFO. Rather than reveal that fact, the U.S. military found duty for Staff Sergeant Charles L. Moody in Western Europe. Before the kidnappers of the UFO, humans seem helpless. The largest circulation newspaper in the United States offers a $1 million reward for decisive UFO information. According to UFO contactees, this is what a UFO humanoid crewman looks like. This is the best UFO photograph in the world. The military took it years ago and kept it secret.
It is very odd to see that.
NASA reveals its UFO policy. NASA astronauts have seen UFOs. You learn for the first time what the Air Force Academy teaches its cadet officers about the reality of the UFO. You'll learn UFO fact, not science fiction. In a surprise ending, you'll see the answers to this incredible worldwide UFO mystery. The origin of the alien intelligences who are the overlords of the UFO.
Okay, it actually didn't even pop up, so that's a plus side, honestly.
You know, Captain, I keep thinking about a real problem, and it's bugging me.
What's that?
Well, remember the TWA case when Captain Schemmel dived under a UFO and about a dozen passengers got hurt?
Boy, I sure do, yeah.
Ever think of what that would be like on a 747?
Well, I've thought about it, but I don't talk about it too much.
Well, we got 300 or 400 passengers and 20 stews moved around the cabin. Most of the passengers don't keep their seat belts fastened. Now, if a big UFO came on a collision course, and with a 747 cruising at over 600 miles an hour, we'd have just a couple of seconds to take an evasive action of some sort, a dive or a zoom. 300 people would be smashed around and a lot of them hurt. Some could be even killed. You couldn't tell what would happen in that cabin.
Probably panic.
Well, panic at the least, but, you know, even if you got control and got down okay, the airlines couldn't hide a thing like that. But the FAA doesn't want to hear about UFOs, and they don't tell us, that's for sure. Now, if we talk about UFOs to the news media, we somehow get blacklisted and our jobs are in jeopardy. As an airlines pilot, no matter how many UFOs I see in the air, I'm not telling anybody about it.
I mean, he's not wrong in a lot of ways. It seems as if a lot
In
of
the
these
last
people
half
that
of this
have
century,
checked out
there has
this
been
kind of
one
stuff are talking about it
mind-boggling
as an
giant
Air
of a
Force
mystery,
person or
which has
even a
overridden
pilot
the
who got
knowledge
a lot of
gathered
trouble
by
for these
mankind
kinds of
through the
things, or
ages.
just chastised to no end.
There seems to be no answer to the reason for the appearances of the unidentified flying objects, the UFOs. Public opinion pollster George Gallup reports that perhaps 15 million U.S. citizens, scientists, and other responsible observers have seen the so-called flying saucers, the UFOs. Who are the overlords of the UFO? What is their origin and their mission?
I mean, the worst part is,
On July
I feel like
31st,
the film actually answers a lot
1952,
of the questions
in the
in a
Italian
very
Alps
interesting
north of
way.
Milan, engineer Gianpietro Mangusi
Let's actually do
took
this.
these pictures of the landing of a UFO on the rough ice of the Churchill Glacier. The UFO
Also,
landing was
I need to go back for just a second. Who was the pilot? Or the photographer on that?
on the rough ice of the Churchill Glacier. North of Milan, engineer Gianpietro Mangusi took
Okay, I
these
actually
pictures
don't
of the
know who
landing
that
of a
is,
UFO
surprisingly.
on the rough ice of the Churchill Glacier.
Like, legitimately not a clue.
The UFO landing was only 3 minutes in duration. A humanoid in some kind of space suit with equipment on his back emerged from the UFO, walked partway around it, and then re-entered. And Mangusi had the pictures to prove it.
Mangusi. See, I feel like with this movie being out, or at least
Verification of the origin of
1976,
these
it's
photographs
kinda
was
wild
made for
because
the
how do you
producers of
fake
this
that
motion
at that
picture by a
point?
Swiss researcher and niece of psychiatrist Dr. Carl Gustav Jung,
I
Miss
guess
Lou
vintage.
Zinstag. Since that time, world newspapers have made note of UFO stories in all degrees, from casual mention to news of an all-out UFO invasion. The mental health of UFO observers was questioned. From 1951, another photograph of a UFO from Riverside, California, showing the very significant bell-shaped configuration with 3 spheres projecting from its underside. This is the most familiar type of UFO and has been seen and photographed worldwide by UFO researchers. Who are the alien intelligences behind this type of space travel device? Are the UFOs friend or foe? In 1973, another significant UFO picture shows not only the anti-gravity device operational, but also with it is a smaller degravitated sphere under the control of the alien intelligences of the UFO. Who are the overlords of the UFO? In the Mediterranean, on a Sicilian beach, 2 small UFOs in the act of materialization from another dimension are observed by excited local citizens. Materialization a concept far beyond
that's
the
the part
understanding
that
of
fucks with
modern
me, is the
science, but
materialization
used
of them
by the
happening and
alien
how it's being
intelligences
done.
of the UFO.
With the Tim Hogan interview recently on the Y-Files
A
basement
PhD in
episode,
biochemistry
it's like,
on the faculty of the
is
University
that
of
the whole
Oregon in Eugene
monoatomic gold thing?
took this picture of a UFO in the act of materialization from another dimension. 3 times during the shutter snap interval, the UFO appeared and disappeared, and here is the evidence. The scientist, fearful of the scorn of his fellows, kept his name secret. He had no desire to investigate one of the most incredible events of the science of the coming 21st century, to which he had been witness and to which he had photographic evidence. Kidnappings have occurred of military jets, people, and automobiles full of people. The military is helpless, and so are the police departments of the world. Where is the origin of the UFOs? UFO Quebec carried this sketch of a UFO humanoid crewman with a map of the star system in the vicinity of Zeta Reticuli,
And that's one of
many
those
light
things where it's like
years
looking
away.
at that creature,
This was indicated to
somewhat
UFO
reminds me of
contactees Betty
Land,
and Barney
which
Hill.
was, the weird
Is it truth,
demonic type
or
big
is it a
head
cover-up
whatever
story?
that Alistair Crowley had always spoken
2
about.
UFOs over San Francisco, similar to UFO surveillance stories and photographs to come from every major city in the world. Iron Curtain scientists have stated publicly their feeling not only that UFOs are real, but that they have the same type of experiences which match those published in the Western world. We now reveal the facts of the UFO which couldn't be kept secret. The planet's most incredible unsolved mystery. Despite the cover-up efforts of world governments, a world silenced by fear, and a helpless world military, private scientific investigators all over the planet have contributed the UFO evidence which we now reveal. The UFO, the secret that couldn't be kept, that can no longer be covered up.
And
Mount
yet they went
Rainier
on
in
to
the state
cover
of
it up for
Washington
decades more.
was the area where private pilot businessman Ken Arnold, flying back to his Idaho home, first saw 9 disc-like flying objects on the sunny afternoon of 24 June 1947. They were moving at 1,500 miles an hour, a speed far exceeding anything we could put into the air at the time. When he landed his airplane at Pendleton, Oregon, he reported the sighting of inverted saucers moving at incredible speeds. The next day, on the radio news broadcasts and in the newspapers, the story sensationalized the term flying saucers. The previous summer of 1946, a member of the U.S. military encountered a giant UFO in a near-miss aerial situation, and the Air Force kept the threat to air safety secret. This event happened on the first day of August 1946 to the man second in charge of flight safety for the U.S. Tactical Air Command, Captain Jack E. Puckett. Captain Puckett's UFO encounter occurred about 30 miles from MacDill Air Force Base near Tampa, Florida, where his twin-engine C-47 airplane nearly collided with an airborne object about...
Or McDeal. I need to look into this one because I don't think I've ever actually looked into this or heard of this one other than from this film. MacDill Air Force Base. See, that's where things are going to start getting a little bit more interesting. Oh wow, this is 2017. That's a bit of a game changer. Here, sorry for all the clunking. I'm trying to. My microphone stand is broken, so I'm trying to do what I can to push that upward a little bit. Oh, we just have pictures. And from the way that it sounds, I mean, shit, that does not look like it's completely on the level. I don't know. Chuckling as UFOs flying triangles at base. What year was this?
Twice the size of a B-20 Air Force statistics to the man previous summer of 1946.
46.
A member of the U.S.
Weird.
military encountered a giant UFO in a near-miss aerial situation, and the Air Force kept the threat to air safety secret. This event happened on the first day of August 1946 to the man second in charge of flight safety
There it is.
for the U.S. Tactical Air Command, Captain Jack E. Puckett. Captain Puckett's UFO encounter occurred about 30 miles from MacDill Air Force Base near
Cylindrical
Tampa,
shape.
Florida,
Okay.
where his twin-engine C-47 airplane nearly collided with an airborne object about twice the size of a B-29 bomber, or about 300 feet long. His report further described the UFO as being cigar-shaped or cylindrical, and with what appeared to be glowing portholes. Governmental agencies have not responded to anxious questions from UFO observers. The Federal Aviation Administration has no UFO policy or opinion. The U.S. Air Force says it has aborted its UFO study program. No answer has been publicly given. UFOs still continue to be sighted worldwide.
I'm insanely curious as to my thought process would be that
At the U.S. Air Force
wouldn't be
Academy in
military
Colorado
technology,
Springs, the
but
cadets in training will become the
who's
officers
to say
who
it's
will police
military
our
or
airspace for the
alien or
next
not.
crucial decades.
that's the part where I
While
get
in
really
the air,
confused on
in the
it,
most
because
complex airborne
is there a
machines that our
civilization,
engineering
and is
science
it
can
theirs?
design, they will encounter the far more sophisticated UFO, which worldwide research has now shown can disable the most reliable electrical and electronic systems of an airplane. The course of instruction at the U.S. Air Force Academy must contain some reliable information concerning the reality of the UFO. Of all government agencies questioned, the most responsive answer to that question has come from the Department of Physics at the Air Force Academy in a letter from its former director, Colonel Anthony J. Maione, who says in part, "In this text, an expanded section on UFOs and extraterrestrial life is included. The section attempts to provide a hopefully
Man, that says that he
unbiased
saw it for
summary of
over 3
UFO
minutes, which
information
is an
and
insanely
concludes
wild
the best
amount of
thing to
time be
do
able
is to
see
keep
all
an
that.
open and skeptical mind and not take an extreme position on any side of the question." To further expand on the background we hope our graduates will have, we invited and had Dr. Stanton Friedman visit with us last April. During his visit, he presented 2 large audience lectures and 2 seminars, essentially in support of his subject, Flying Saucers Are Real. I hope you gather that we do make a continuing and real effort to provide our students with all views of current topics. They are expected to come to their own mature conclusions based upon the broadest foundation of knowledge and information that we can provide. Yours truly, Anthony J. Maione, Colonel, United States Air Force, Professor and Head of the Department of Physics. He tells of the text, Introductory Space Science, and reveals exactly what the cadets at the Academy are being taught about UFOs today.
I'd love to
These
see
are the
what they're
men
being
who
taught
will have to
today.
make crucial decisions while in the air when they encounter the incredible UFO. In the past, officers of the air forces of the world were given no instruction or any preparation whatsoever for this mind-chilling experience when they meet the spacecraft of the overlords of the UFO face to face. Nor have our astronauts been given proper instruction. From Introductory Space Science, Volume 2, page 466. We should not deny the possibility of alien control of UFOs on the basis of preconceived notions not established as related to the UFO. Our physics may not apply. From available information, the UFO phenomenon appears to have been global in nature for almost 50,000 years. Known witnesses have been reliable people. This leaves us with the possibility of alien-controlled UFOs by visitors to this planet from this solar system or other solar systems. The existence of at least 3 or possibly 4 different groups of aliens, possibly at different stages of development, which implies the existence of intelligent life on the planets in our solar system, or a surprisingly strong interest in Earth by members of other solar systems, the Air Force Academy text admonishes its officers in training to keep an open mind on the baffling subject of unidentified flying objects.
Maybe it's the honeymoon capital, this corner of the galaxy. Maybe
The lecturers selected by the U.S. Air Force Academy to establish for their officers in training that flying saucers are real was Stanton Friedman. He had been appearing on the lecture circuit in various U.S. colleges as a UFO analyst with a high level of scientific training. Friedman's academic background includes a bachelor's and master's degree in nuclear physics from the University of Chicago. His employment background included much high-level work in space science in the area of fusion rocket research and nuclear-powered aircraft.
I'm really curious.
He was 14 years with such aerospace
dudes that's portrayed in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which major problem on my part. I've still never watched that movie, and I need to at some point in time. Maybe if I actually get a community going, that will be something we'll have to do in a Discord.
Space contractors as TRW Systems, Westinghouse, and General Electric. He says UFOs are the most challenging scientific problem of this or any other age. He made the following statements in public in Seattle, Washington, the home of one of the world's largest aerospace manufacturers, Boeing.
The government has never really said what it's been credited as saying, that there are no flying saucers. They really word their press releases very carefully. The press takes it that last step. I think every government in the world has 3 major problems along these lines with regard to UFOs. One, they'd like themselves to figure out how it works, because it makes a great weapons delivery system. It makes anything we're flying look pretty naive by comparison. 2, you'd want to make sure that the other guy doesn't figure out how to duplicate their behavior, because then you have a defense problem. If he's got something that flies like these things, we got a problem because we can't handle it. And 3, perhaps most important, a kind of philosophical political problem. As soon as it becomes obvious to the people on the planet and widely accepted that flying saucers are real and from off the Earth, there's going to be a push for a view of man as Earthlings, the people on this planet. Instead of I'm an American or Russian or Chinese, I'm an Earthling. There is no government that wants its citizens to owe their primary allegiance to the planet as opposed to the country. Nobody wants to give up their power. And you know, all these jokes about take me to your leader, that's wishful thinking. What's funny about those is that there is no leader to be taken to. There's nobody who speaks for planet Earth. So there are enormous political problems with anybody saying, yes, there's somebody out there and he's coming here and he doesn't want to talk to me as a representative of the planet.
We'll be back in a moment to TNT's Saturday Nitro.
Man, having the commercials is weird. Forgive me. I'm trying to figure out if
$1,500
is portrayed in that movie or in Close Encounters.
Since the 1950s, it has been easy to point to the millions of suns in space and speculate that somewhere out there is the home of the UFO. That UFOs are spacecraft from some other Earth, orbiting some other sun, just like ours. From a visible sun in the visible universe. Perhaps so, perhaps not.
Okay. That's interesting to see that.
But the UFOs could also be from an invisible dimension, in the invisible portion of the universe, which our science cannot easily detect.
Hollywood big budget movie being a fact is kind of wild.
Perhaps one or possibly both of these concepts will one day be the explanation of the origin of the UFO. The Air Force Academy text on space science concedes that 2, 3, or even 4 levels of alien intelligences might be involved. NASA at the Johnson Space Flight Center near Houston, Texas, only concerns itself with the visible universe, with aerospace contracts administering the manufacturing of visible metal vehicles, making visibly televised trips in the Earth-Moon area, and with probes within the solar system by unmanned devices.
See, and this is going to get into a weird spot where it makes me question...
NASA
if
astronauts in their
UFOs
Skylab
are
make a track
particularly
across
metal
the
in any
nighttime
kind of way.
sky, lit by millions of suns. The activities of the astronauts are minutely planned and carried out, but the framework is that of Earth science as we understand and engineer its applications. There seems little room for productive scientific speculation, perhaps
Also, I just
because of the
realized my shirt is very
$38 billion
wide. Sorry if
NASA
that's
space
okay.
budget, which is highly criticized in many quarters. It is difficult to explain why the planners of NASA's space program would refuse to admit the spacecraft capabilities of the alien intelligences who built this device, first seen over the Korean battle area in 1952 and photographed by the U.S. military.
What's the veracity of that, though? Is that, like...
This picture was available to NASA.
if this
Obviously, it is
from
not a
NASA
picture of
or
anything
the
manufactured by
military.
humans on this Earth.
I mean, this is 76,
It was classified then and now as an unidentified
I forgot the name of the car now. Man. Military flying car. I want to say it's the Avro. It's the Avro car. That fucker.
Ever see those shaky UFO videos from the 50s? It probably wasn't aliens. It was the US Air Force having a very, very bad day. During the Cold War, the military had a top secret plan, Project 1794. They wanted to build a real-life flying saucer, a supersonic interceptor that could hit Mach 4, reach the edge of space, and shoot down Soviet bombers. The concept art looked like it was straight out of science fiction. After years of work and millions of dollars, this is what they actually built, the Avrocar. And it didn't quite live up to the hype. Instead of a supersonic fighter, it was a clunky, unstable hovercraft that could barely get 3 feet off the ground. When it did, it wobbled uncontrollably like a dropped plate. Pilots said it was impossible to fly. The project was a complete embarrassing failure, but it did do one thing perfectly. It looked exactly like the wobbly, hovering flying saucers that people all over the country were suddenly reporting to the news. The military didn't find aliens, they just accidentally invented the UFO sighting. Ever see those shaky UFO videos?
flying object, a UFO.
I mean, how much does that really resemble the Avro car? Like, I feel like it doesn't. Especially with, well... Okay, you have a person in the center. But no dome. Which seems to be the thing that's here. And if that's being portrayed that way, and that's supposedly a military taken photograph, it seems crazy.
Can we now
It seems
identify
like
it?
that can't be the Avro car at that
Is this actual photographic evidence that proves that alien intelligences use a spacecraft like this to travel from their dimension to our reality? Is a Watergate-type scientific cover-up involved? Let's now examine that possibility. Across the nation, news headlines state that 26 astronauts have seen and photographed UFOs. The public is puzzled by NASA's silence on the subject. The producers of this motion picture were answered on 2 occasions by high public affairs administrators of NASA, who stated,
"It's not in our charter to investigate the UFO."
Inside the Skylab in zero gravity, the astronauts go through the day and night with their every minute carefully scheduled. The scientific experiments are in almost every instance planned, not to open new areas of the unknown in cosmic science, but to reinforce the ideas we already hold regarding the reality of the universe. Planners have left no time or leeway in which the UFO can be postulated, thought about, or examined. Certainly, few startling public announcements have been made of any new discoveries during space missions. No new theories have been advanced. Astronaut Jack Lousma in Skylab 3 saw a glowing red object making its way across a field of his vision. He photographed it from his little planetoid in space, the NASA Skylab. It could have been explained as a meteor glowing red in space, except that there is no atmosphere in space whose friction could heat a meteor to a red glow. Was it a UFO observing Skylab? NASA remains silent. Complex instrument packages such as Explorer 10 vanish in space. Launched on the 25th of March, 1961, it disappeared, although its life expectancy was over 100 years. Perhaps some alien intelligence is examining this complex NASA space device. NORAD cannot find it, and it is not transmitting. It just disappeared. What is the photographic evidence that UFOs are watching our every space move? Why is it so hard for the project managers of NASA to accept the reality of the UFO? Is there a high-level scientific cover-up? And if so, why? Governments are charged with upholding the law, and no law on Earth is more basic than the law of gravity. No wonder the obvious anti-gravity capability of the UFO makes governments uncomfortable.
I don't know why this guy kind of...
Bravely, some astronauts have stated that they believe in the reality of the UFO and the capability of the UFO to defy gravity, while our giant rockets consume enormous amounts of fuel, putting a simple space capsule or Skylab in orbit. In the dark blue of space, in silence orbiting the Earth, the Skylab is the planetoid home of its crew. The crew is like the NASA test pilots in the X-15, busily occupied and concerned with the scientific work outlined for them by their NASA masters. Life support in Earth orbit is a scientific victory in itself and a major achievement for Earthlings. But outside alien intelligences are again observing the progress of man from Earth. 2 UFOs are photographed by an astronaut during a spacewalk. The hatch is open. The astronaut is working his problem. Again, 2 UFOs flit by. Just moving lights, something that could be easily ignored unless we obtained other pictures and other explanations. Actual pictures which could identify the UFO as a solid object with a mission and under intelligent control.
One of the most remarkable instances of UFO photography took place in 1968, here above the Boeing Space Laboratory, south of Renton, Washington. Several photographs were taken of a UFO by then 14-year-old Scott Silty. It showed its anti-gravity capabilities as it hovered over the center in 2 locations. His efforts produced probably the only detailed shots of a UFO materializing to show configuration and portholes.
What an odd-looking craft.
His junior high school instructor, Jim Holm, was given the negatives to develop. Holm said he didn't know what to expect, but became a believer when he saw what the young Silty had apparently captured on film.
When they came in that morning and they said, hey, we got the pictures we were talking about, naturally, you know, junior high students, you're a little bit reluctant to believe everything they say. But then, you know, as things proceeded, what happened was I developed the pictures, and we know the results now.
What is your impression of what that object is?
I'm always hesitant, but I would have to say that believing the students and the type of students they were, it almost definitely had to be some type of a flying object.
Right out there.
Right. And it's a little eerie. The thing that shook me up at first is I was reluctant to believe them. And when I developed the film, I really couldn't see that much. But I was shocked. I have to admit, I was shocked when I put it in the enlarger. And through the enlarger, I could see a great deal more of what the object looked like.
Like the portholes.
Right. That was, I would say, the portholes was the most shocking part, because then it looked different than just a glow in the sky in a certain form, like you always hear the thing, you know, swamp gas and that sort of thing. But no swamp gas is going to have portholes or a configuration, geometric, the way that was.
One man who has spent the last 25 years researching and keeping track of UFO sightings in the United States is Seattle fireman Robert Gribble. He has spent his spare time gathering all data possible that will help him keep track of when and where they take place. The pins on this map indicate sightings in the U.S. for just 1 year. Over the past quarter century, he has come to some conclusions based on the number of sightings he has recorded.
We have received and recorded some 30,000 sightings since 1955.
Have you noticed any particular patterns that develop in pinpointing the UFO sightings on these maps?
No, we have found no marked pattern, although we do believe that they are following two procedures. One, a surveillance of the land areas, a very close surveillance, and a close surveillance of the people, and it seems to fluctuate from one to the other.
Now, through all these years of research, you must have drawn some conclusions about what they are, what the UFOs are.
Well, we firmly believe that what the people are seeing and those objects which we have classified as unknown are actually vehicles not manufactured on this planet.
How can you draw that conclusion? How do you know?
Well, the vehicles have been seen in the United States, and there are good records of this for the last 200 years, and actually the records go back into history for some 3,000 years. The same things that were seen then are being seen today.
We understand that there are several hot spots in the United States, UFO sighting areas, and one of them happens to be in the southwestern United States in Utah.
There have been a tremendous amount of sightings in the southwest over the years, with a very large concentration in the Utah area.
The Canadian UFO Report was one of the initial UFO publications to headline the story of the possibility that much of the early Mormon history tells of a contact with an alien intelligence, the angel Moroni. It opens the possibility that the founder of Mormonism, their prophet Joseph Smith, may have been one of the greatest of UFO contactees. Dr. Frank B. Salisbury, on the faculty of the State University of Utah in Logan, and himself a Mormon, does not doubt that possibility. He has stated publicly that he believes that his UFO study has established the probability that the Earth is being visited by UFOs that seem to be using the isolated area of eastern Utah as an Earth base. In March of 1975, a national tabloid newspaper circulated the following story of a UFO kidnapping. The producers of this motion picture interviewed Carl Higdon, who furnished the artist's conception of the android crewman from the UFO who kidnapped him and took him aboard the UFO to elsewhere. Higdon was given a physical examination in a tower by a huge TV-like eye, rejected, and was returned to the elk hunting area in Wyoming, where he was picked up. While on his 8-hour UFO trip, he encountered a teenage boy, 2 young girls, and a man in his 60s, also guests of the UFO intelligences. Upon his return, he suffered radiation symptoms with itching skin and burning eyes. Area Sheriff Ogburn and his deputy Ed Tierney investigated the incident.
Yo, I just realized what's going on that bag right there. And I feel uncomfortable.
So did Dr. Leo Sprinkle of the University of Wyoming, who gives us this professional opinion as to the truth of this verified UFO kidnapping.
To whom it may concern, my impression of Carl Higdon is that he's a man of integrity with average education, but a keen sense of curiosity about the world around him. He's an outdoors man and seems to have developed good skills of estimating size and distance. Although the sighting of a single UFO witness often is difficult to evaluate, the indirect evidence supports the tentative conclusion that Carl Higdon is reporting sincerely the events that he experienced. Hopefully, further statements from other persons can be obtained to support the basic statement. Respectfully submitted by R. Leo Sprinkle, Ph.D., the University of Wyoming in Laramie.
I think after this part, I'm actually going to stop.
UFO traffic in the Rocky Mountain area of Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico reached a high level in the November...
In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do now. Tonight was more of a test stream to see where things could go. Obviously, nobody showed, which is fine. And we just got to get going again. But I'm really hoping to build a community off of this thing. And we're going to see what we can do. Eventually, we'll hopefully get into topics that other people want to get into. And have people to chat with. And figure out what other people's thoughts are on everything. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. I really needed to do this for me. And hopefully this will eventually have an effect on others. I appreciate anybody who does watch this. I doubt I did anything special enough to keep your attention, but I'm hoping that in the future we can get there.